A group of left-wingers from Jake Tapper to Vanity Fair to CNN are accusing Trump of being an anti-Semite. Yes, I kind of kid you not. Let's think about this for a minute. When you're calling someone anti-Semite, you need a little bit of context. In Trump's case, you've got a guy who came of age in New York and in a Jewish environment where he was very, if anything, is pro-Semitic. Here's a guy who's strongly pro-Israel. Remember, Trump is the guy, after lots of people promised to do it, who moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Trump was a guy who was constantly looking out for Israel. He had a very close relationship with Netanyahu, and he seems to be as much of a Zionist as Golda Meir or Netanyahu himself. His son-in-law is Jared Kushner, and his daughter Ivanka converted to Judaism. So if you look at the background, this is on the face of it, a preposterous accusation. But Trump is plain spoken about stuff, and in a recent interview, he made some statements, which apparently Jake Tapper calls, quote, jaw-dropping. So let's look at these jaw-dropping statements. By the way, here's Vanity Fair. Trump goes full anti-Semite, unloads on American Jews in wildly bigoted rant. And here's CNN. Trump uses anti-Semitic tropes. This is Gabby Orr of CNN. She probably just learned the word trope. A trope is basically a term, an anti-Semitic theme. So let's see what these anti-Semitic themes are from Trump. He's speaking to an Israeli journalist named Barak Ravid on a podcast. And he says, first of all, it used to be that Israel had absolute power over Congress. Little bit of an overstatement, but what Trump is getting at, and he's quite right about this, is that Israel used to have bipartisan support. Both parties were strongly pro-Israel. And now the Democrats are increasingly anti-Israel. So the political unanimity that Israel could count on from both parties doesn't exist anymore. So I rate this statement true. True in the sense that I just re-described it. Trump continues, the Jewish people in the U.S. either don't like Israel or don't care about Israel. Now, this is the statement that the left is jumping on, and this is the one that they're calling wildly bigoted. And let's try to understand what they're saying. Here's Vanity Fair. They say Trump went on a lengthy rant about how American Jews supposedly aren't loyal enough to Israel, invoking a longtime anti-Semitic trope, there's that word again, trope, about Jewish people and allegiances to other countries. Okay? But if you really pay attention, Trump, far from ratifying this anti-Semitic trope, is actually saying the exact opposite. So what is the anti-Semitic trope? The anti-Semitic trope is that Jews only care about Israel. They don't care about America. They're too attached to Israel, and they will put Israel's interests ahead of America's. Now, what is Trump saying? Trump is saying the opposite. Trump is saying that American Jews should be more loyal to Israel. They're not loyal enough. They don't care about Israel, evidently. So far from reinforcing anti-Semitism, Trump is undercutting the anti-Semitic trope. He's saying, in a sense, the exact opposite of the kind of ancient accusation that Jews have their allegiances with a foreign country. And finally, Trump says, they're Jewish people that run the New York Times, which he finds amazing because the New York Times is often attacking Israel. Now, this is simply a factually true statement. The New York Times is owned by the Sulzberger family. I mean, it's now public, but the chief interest is owned by the Sulzberger family. And so the idea that the New York Times is, quote, run by Jews is, in fact, nothing more than a statement of fact. So what you have here with this anti-Semitism stuff is it's now become a little bit of a political football. Here's another case. Fox News runs a cartoon by Branko. Branko is a very talented cartoonist, showing George Soros manipulating the defund the police and the no bail movements, which is, again, a factual statement. Soros has poured billions of dollars. Here's the ADL. The ADL goes, as we have told Fox News numerous times, casting a Jewish individual as a puppet master who manipulates national events for malign purposes conjures up long-standing anti-Semitic tropes. Here's that word again, tropes. So the basic idea is that you can't criticize Jews because you are engaging in tropes. Now think of how stupid this is. We're not criticizing, there's no criticism here. Branko's not criticizing Jews, he's criticizing Soros. And is it an exaggeration to say that Soros views himself as a puppet master, manipulating not just national, but international events? That's how Soros sees himself. That's how Soros describes himself in interviews. He once talked about his messiah complex. So what are these people even saying? Can you not criticize Jeffrey Epstein or Harvey Weinstein because, you know what, you're engaging in anti-Semitic tropes. You're implying that Jews are lecherous. You're implying that Jews are financial criminals. You're implying that Jews do this. No, we're not implying that Jews do anything. We're basically focusing on the particular individuals and speaking about them. So it's not that you get a kind of Jewish exemption because to criticize you if you're Jewish somehow invokes a trope. This would be like me saying, well, listen, Indian people are known to be cunning and extremely smart and in some cases diabolical. So anybody who calls me cunning and smart and which lots of people, by the way, call me, to my secret delight, I should add, you're invoking anti-Indian tropes, guys. This is racist against brown people. Our discourse has totally degenerated, and the latest critiques, both the one from the ADL and the one aimed at Trump, are evidence of this intellectual free fall.